All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. All right, guys, so we are seeing Bitcoin reject before hitting that $69,000 target. If we look at our range that we have been in for the past 3 weeks or so, let me grab that smaller range here. And we were looking over the weekend when Friday's live stream ended at our $69,000 point of control, which was also the golden pocket. If we pull it from our last range highs to our range lows from the Thursday to the 19th of February, I was looking to come up to 69K where we could see a potential rejection of 69K before seeing the big dump to the downside, a breaking down of this corrective structure here. But what ended up happening is we rose up on Saturday, front running that area of resistance, which we also had a daily level really close by that area of resistance as well. You can see at like 69,850-ish. So this area of resistance was definitely an area of resistance I was looking to short. We did not quite make it up there, and we dumped come Sunday. We dumped over the weekend, closing the daily candle below the value area low, dumping pretty aggressively with a imbalance candle to the downside, closing or on Sunday night. It was after close, but dumping down technically Monday morning as far as trading time goes, UTC. And then we saw a bounce. Now, on the dump to the downside, there was a couple levels of support we've been looking at below us. If we take our golden pocket from the 60K lows up to our 72.2K highs, this golden pocket here between 64,673 and 64,282, let's say, was front run when we first dropped down to it around Thursday, February 12th. We had front run that golden pocket, and then we had pushed up to make another lower high, pretty much rejecting from the value area high of the range. It was also another rejection from our pitchfork band. And then we got, chopped down for a week or so in corrective price action. And then this chop that we were seeing move up on Friday, starting Thursday throughout Friday, it just looked corrective. It didn't look too impulsive, but we were breaking out of a descending channel here. And I was hoping that we could at least make it up to 69K if we were going to see some sort of a triangle formation in here, a bigger triangle formation come in here, where we could then reject and possibly lose the range and come down to take the 60K lows. But because this golden pocket has not been hit in the entire range, it is still a fresh, clean golden pocket that could act as a support level. And you can see that after bouncing last night, we dumped last night to hit that golden pocket perfectly. We bounced from that golden pocket support level. And after bouncing from that golden pocket support, let me zoom in onto the 1 hour time frame here. We did see a nice bounce from the golden pocket to backtest our value area low. So bounce from the golden pocket, come up, we backtested the value area low. And after losing the range with such an aggressive imbalance candle to the downside, what we're looking for is on the bearish backtest, after bouncing from a local support level that was a naked support level that hadn't been hit before, we were looking to see if this was going to get back inside the range. And if we were able to find reacceptance back in the range, I think we could have pushed up at least to 69K, but we might have been able to come all the way up to 71K to take out those highs from a couple Saturdays ago. But we did reject on the bearish backtest of our value area low. Perfect rejection. So upon seeing the rejection, we expect to make new local lows. I talk about this on the channel all the time. When you lose a range to the downside, bounce from a local support for the bearish backtest, you get the bearish backtest. If you reject on this bearish backtest, you expect to come down and take out the local lows. And that is exactly what just happened today. So overnight and throughout the morning, we bounced up. We rejected from that value area low of our range, now pretty much confirming that this range is no longer acting at, we're no longer finding fair value for Bitcoin within this range. The 3-week fair value for Bitcoin is now being considered at lower prices. But upon the bearish backtest, we did drop all the way back down and we made a new low for today. But overall, we're still holding the golden pocket. You can see even on the hourly chart, no hour candle closes below that golden pocket. But I am concerned here, guys. We are below the value area low, and we just closed the daily candle for the day 7 minutes ago, and now it is officially our first daily candle close below the value area low of our range. And this is a concerning thing, because when you start to close daily candles below your fair value, what has been considered fair value for the last 3 weeks, it is now the market in some way saying we're accepting a new fair value for Bitcoin, a new price range for Bitcoin to determine whether it's where its new fair value is going to be. Now, on the higher time frames, we've been looking at a couple different scenarios. So let me go ahead and hide some of this local stuff here. We've been looking at our drop from 98K being our fifth and final wave to the downside. This Coinbase chart, it's a little bit different. Most of the charts, the index chart, comes down to 101K here for our wave one on the daily time frame, a wave two, a wave three down to 80.5K, a wave four corrective range up to 98K, and then this was our extended fifth wave to the downside where we could be dropping to make new lows below 60K. So that has been the highest probability that I've been looking at for the past few weeks here. And if we just go on to a different chart here, let's see, let me get that on the chart. This is what we've been looking at seeing as the impulse to the downside in a potential C wave, by the way, in a potential bigger flat, A, B flat, C flat, and then we could maybe make a motive wave to the upside, potentially to new all-time highs. We've discussed this a lot on the channel, so I'm not going to go too far in depth on this. But within our drop from 98K to the 60K lows, we had in what was like a very high probability to be impulsive structure to the downside, just based off the amount of volume that came in on this dump to the downside from 98K. Huge spike in volume as we were dropping, losing our midline of our pitchfork. And to me, it was very likely that this impulse from 98K to wherever the lows are going to be is the last fifth leg of a bigger daily impulse to the downside. Now, what we've been diagnosing is this was more likely for the last 3 weeks. I've been saying we're more likely to see a corrective wave 4 before seeing new lows below 60K based off of our Elliott waves, based off of this fifth wave to the downside not being complete. So we have our wave 1 that came down to $87,500, a running flat in a wave 2 that lasted about a week. Our wave 3 dropped us all the way down to 60K. And our wave 4 corrective move, which generally is a complex corrective move, wave 4s tend to be complex corrective moves. We've been looking for a WXY correction where we could come up, take out the range highs, or even a triangle of some sort where we could drop down from that, break down to take your 60K lows. But either way, the overall higher time frame bias was, for me, for the past 3 weeks, is that this is not going to be the ultimate macro low and that we were going to see a new low coming in on the charts. It was just we needed to get data, more data within this range to tell us whether we were going to make another push up to take out the highs of the range before dumping, or if we were going to dump before, if we were going to lose the range and take out the lows before. But the fact that we are closing our daily candle, our first daily candle, below the value area low of our last 3 weeks of price action, we're closing below the value area low, is a bearish sign for me. And it does mean that we could see new lows come in before making any new significant highs. Now, another thing I want to talk about as far as volume profiles go, if we look at our largest volume profile, and I'm going to go ahead, let me just hide the pitchfork really quick here. If we look at not only our all-time high range, this range for 2025 was what I called the all-time high range, this upper range in here, but we had 2024's range as well, which was about 8 months long, 7-8 months long, and that was our key consolidation in 2024. But when you start to have two separate ranges, a lower range and an upper range, and then you start to break the upper range down, and you find reacceptance back inside your 2024 range, and we have, if I turn on that 2024 range, so let me go ahead and turn on that 2024 range there, you can see we have now traded for multiple weeks inside of that range. If we look at our value area, previous range value area low is where we bounced 3 weeks ago on that low, on the 60K lows. If we look at our previous range value area high. You can see that we have now been trading and finding reacceptance back within our 2024 range for about 3 weeks now. We have been inside of this range. So in some ways, the market is now repriced the fair value for Bitcoin back to 2024 levels. But when you start to lose an upper range like this and start to find reacceptance back into an old range, you can merge the two ranges together to make that one bigger range. And so if we look at merging the 2024 range with the 2025 range, we get this new bigger range here. Now, one of the things that we had been holding on to for the past couple of weeks is we've been chopping around the POC, and yes, we've seen some drops below the POC, but for the most part, the POC was kind of acting as a support. We were at least chopping around the fair value of the past 2 years of Bitcoin, chopping around the fair value. But look at the daily candle from Sunday. We rejected that point of control and saw a big bearish engulfing candle to the downside on the daily time frame, closing our daily candle, not only breaking market structure bearishly, or continuing bearish market structure, I should say, lower, you have your high, your low, lower high, not a lower low here, but we did make a lower high, and then we broke by breaking this low from last week. We did now break market structure bearishly, continuing to break market structure bearishly here. So closing below the point of control, you can see that is right when we lost that large point of control. We were trying to hold it over the weekend. On Thursday, we got above it, tried to flip it to support, could not really hold it when we came down to test it. And so then we dump hard, losing that point of control with a big dump and a big volume imbalance to the downside. And to me, that is a bit bearish. And that is saying that, okay, Bitcoin might now be considered trading below the fair value, below the point of control of this range, and we might come down to at least test some local supports, maybe continue this range for a little bit longer. And there is a possibility that this range could continue. There's a few counts in here that could continue. But what I want to emphasize here is that overall, the higher probabilities are to come down to take out your 60K lows. And we have some very good support below us, where now we are starting to develop some really nice bull divs on the chart on the daily time frame that could give us, if we do drop right away, you know, we would have to look at this as a couple 1-2s, like a 1-2, 1-2, and we would want to see this continuing to push down in a third wave, and then we would want to see some 4-5s coming in as we're dropping down here. But if we make new lows relatively quickly within the next week or so, we could see some very nice bull divs coming in on the daily time frame. And if you look at NAMI is developing this nice curve of momentum to the upside. Your money flow is now bottomed out and is starting to curve up here. So depending on how quickly we flush down, we could see some very, very nice daily bullish divergences at our key support below us, which I've been telling you guys, this zone between 58 and 57K is a major swing long opportunity for me. We have a few really nice levels there. If we look at our naked monthly points of control, we do have a naked monthly point of control at $57,000. I'm going to say $57,900. Our anchored VWAP from the bear market lows, if we scroll all the way back here and look at our key anchored VWAP from the bear market lows, all the way from our $15,500 lows, it is going to be coming in at around $57,000. We also have a few pitchfork levels there. If I go back to our major pitchfork that has really guided us through all of 2025, these major swing positions throughout 2025, distribution range up here, bounce up here, we have lost that band. And if we do come down between, you know, this is a little bit lower, so it, you know, $56,500, $57,000 around that area, it would be a nice bounce from your midline. And as far as pitchfork trading goes, when we reject from the top of the pitchfork, you will hold the band as support, but once the band is lost as support, you are likely to drop down to that pitchfork midline. So we have a lot of support coming in below. It would also finish our 5-wave count 1, 2, 3, 4, extended fifth wave, and we might see a major multi-$1,000 rally from the next low that is put in on the chart here. So I'm really getting prepared for that. But in the meantime, we could see this range extend. And one of the reasons why I am looking at that is, let me zoom in onto the lower time frames here. Let's go on to the 2-hour chart. A lot of people within this range, including myself, has been looking at a potential complex WXY correction. You know, we did get that initial 3-wave move up here. We got this kind of double zigzag in here. And this looked impulsive here, which is a little bit of a strike against a triangle. But we were looking pretty much at a fractal of what happened at the higher range between $80,500 and $98,000. That kind of this larger complex zigzag correction with a bunch of 3-wave moves within it. And so if you remember Thursday and Friday's live stream, I kind of just threw that bars pattern on and said we could see something like this where we could even push up to $75,000 where that 0.5 Fibonacci is. But we are starting to break down now, guys. So possibility of a triangle still being in here is still a possibility. Seeing some sort of triangle that is breaking down now. But what I have to say about the triangle, within a triangle, you want to see a series of 3-wave corrective moves for your A. You want to see corrective moves, a simple zigzag for your B, a zigzag for your C, D, and E. You all want to see those be corrective moves. And if we look at, in particular, the C wave here, it really does look impulsive. It's much better counted as an impulse, as a double 1-2 impulse on smaller time frames, or as impulsive price action. So that is a pretty big strike against the triangle playing out. And if we look at now, instead of a triangle, let's look at, because we do know that these channels form a lot when there's low volume bot trading, if we pull a descending channel from our highs of the range to our lower high that was created at 71K down to your first major low of the range, you can see that this channel has been pretty nicely respected. Midline, you know, nicely respected. We kind of rejected on the back test of the midline earlier today. And if we continue to chop down to the bottom of the channel, well, that does happen to be where our support box that we've also had laid out for a few weeks is. And remember, this support box is your point of control of your 2024 range. It is also our 786 Fibonacci pull. If we pull a Fibonacci from the lows of the range to the highs of the range, we turn on our 786 Fibonacci. Where am I at? There we go. And if we look at the daily level that we have in there, it would be, so we have a multitude of confluence of support coming down into this general area here. Turning on our daily levels, we do have a daily level in there as well, a fresh daily level. So I am looking at a potential bounce from this area if we do lose the golden pocket. And I guess I will say this, yesterday in the Telegram, last night in the Telegram, I did post about a potential impulse down because we did front run that 69K point of control. Let me just zoom in on the hourly chart here. And we were chopping with a lot of overlap in here. If we look at the rejection that we saw on Saturday, which once again, guys, another high put in on Saturday, high put in on Saturday, high put in on, I think this one was Sunday, but weekend highs, weekend high, weekend high. So all of these highs are weekend highs, and I don't like that. But we were looking at a 1-2, 1-2, because we do have some overlap here between, actually, do we have some overlap? Let me double check that. No, we actually don't have any overlap, but the thing is, you would still count it as a double 1-2 because you want your, if we were going to count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a huge extended fifth wave, yes, that is a valid count. But generally, your third wave is your longest and strongest, biggest wave. So I would rather count this as a double 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. You have your big 3. And I talked about this last night in the Telegram, but we were looking, if we come up to the golden pocket, which is from the highs of wave 3 to the lows of wave 3, that's going to invalidate this as a double 1-2 impulse. So if we pull that golden pocket, you'll see that is where we did reject earlier today, invalidating the double 1-2 impulse. So you could see that golden pocket was hit, therefore invalidating a double 1-2 impulse. But if we do pull it Let's see here. Yeah, and so it does throw a wrench into this starting down to be an impulsive price action. We could now be looking at this as some sort of bigger three-wave corrective move to come down, and then a bounce, and then another rally to the upside, continuing this descending channel here, just continuing this channel structure in a bigger corrective move. And if we do continue that, I would expect to come up and take out at least your 68.5K highs before dumping down and take $60,000. But we just have to wait to see how this range plays out, guys. We're coming down to the golden pocket right now. And this golden pocket so far is holding. If we turn on the golden pocket as well, you can see the golden pocket is holding. We are getting some reaction at this naked golden pocket. But overall, I'm expecting this range to break down. So I'm not expecting any significant breakouts above $72,200. Yes, we could get some more rising in here. We could get some more chop. We could come take out your weekend high, your most recent weekend high, because we do have some nice bull divs that are printing on the chart now. You could see lower lows in the price action into your golden pocket, finally hitting that support level, higher lows on the momentum waves on Market Cipher B, and your money flow has finally started to bottom out here. If we look at the 2-hour chart, on the 2-hour chart, nice bull divs. Now, NAMI does not have the bull divs on the 2-hour chart. And then if we go to our 4-hour chart, you can see that is where NAMI, now Market Cipher does not have the 4-hour bull divs, but NAMI has the nice 4-hour bull divs between the two lows from yesterday and today. So we are seeing some bullish signs at a good support level, a golden pocket that has not been hit within this range, and we are seeing a reaction here. But I would just warn that we now have to keep an eye out for another rise to the upside within this descending channel, or if we continue to grind slowly, let me just say this, if we continue to grind slowly down with overlap within this move to the downside, starting to see some exhaustion and maybe even a channel on a lower time frame into our support box and into the bottom of our larger channel, then I will be looking for a long as we come down to this support level. But I am not randomly setting limit long orders there, hoping that it's going to play out, because we could just continue to dump. And closing the daily candle below our value area low does suggest that we could come now, take out your 60K lows before making any new significant highs. Also, if we look at like the money flow on the 4-hour does not look good on NAMI or Market Cipher B. Yes, NAMI does have the bull divs, but the money flow still looks pretty bearish here. And if we zoom out to the 8-hour chart, on the 8-hour chart, okay, 8-hour chart money flow is now starting to round off again on both NAMI and Market Cipher B. And we are at our golden pocket. So we'll just have to see, guys. We do have some pretty nice bull divs coming down to hit this golden pocket. But overall, I'm expecting us to break down, even if we see another a little rise up here, to break down to ultimately take out your 60K lows. So we can still trade this range until it breaks. And yes, in some ways, closing the daily candle below the value area low is our first sign of breakage today, our first at least warning sign that we could see a little bit of breakage today on this range that we have. Now, if we look at some internal levels within this range, we can now pull, because we did create a new low today, from our weekend high at 68,683 down to our new lows. You can see that our golden pocket is going to be coming in pretty close to another back test of that value area low, or it would be a fake out of that value area low. And actually, let me go in on the 1-hour chart here. One of the things that I wanted to talk about that I just forgot about, let me go into this real quick. After bouncing initially from that golden pocket last night, we got to rise up to backtest the value area low, but it was also just filling this fair value gap that was created. You can see there was a giant fair value gap that was created within this candle. And so we rose up, filled in that fair value gap, backtested the value area low, and then came down and made new lows. So now we filled that fair value gap, but we do have a bit of a fair value gap in the candle above us as well on the 1-hour chart. Let me just go ahead and turn on our fair value gap indicator, and you can see. Okay, I do not know why that's not showing that. There you go. There's your fair value gap on that 1 hour candle. So we do have that fair value gap there. And we could make another rise up to hit that golden pocket, which is within that fair value gap. If we pull from the last Saturday high to the lows that we created today, you can see that golden pocket. Now, yes, it would be kind of bouncing from the beginning of the fair value gap, and it would be bouncing from that value area low, but that is something that I will be paying attention to. And we do have a new naked weekly point of control. We just closed a new weekly candle yesterday, so we do have a new naked weekly point of control at $68,000. We also have the naked daily point of control there as well. New naked daily, new naked weekly point of control up there. And as far as daily levels go, we'd still have that daily level around 69K. For me, I'm really not interested in taking any short positions, guys. If you were looking for a short position earlier today, the bearish backtest of the value area low was the short position to take to come down to make new lows. And that was a good scalp. If you caught that $66,500 short there, that was a good short to take. I actually ended up taking it on Solana instead, and I can go into that later in the video. I did post about this in the Telegram, let you guys know I'm still in this short position. I've taken a TP1, but overall I'm looking to come down to take out some lows into a golden pocket. But as far as shorts go, yes, if we do make another rise up and take out the weekend highs into that range point of control into the top of the channel and into our daily level up there, I will be looking for a short. Otherwise, I'm really not going to be looking for any shorts within this area below the value area low. Let's just look at this. Yeah, and even, you know, the thing is, guys, if we start to see some slowdown and some overlap in here. So let me go ahead and zoom back into scalp mentality. Let me turn off some of the ranges. We've lost the value area low of the range. We closed the daily candle below the value area low range. If we're looking for this kind of corrective slow grind down in a channel until we get to our support level between $63,150 and $62,600, then we might see a rise up to hit your golden pocket, or even a quicker rise up to hit your 786, which would be back testing that midline of the channel before kind of rejecting and seeing something like this happen over the next couple of days. And that, if we do see that, I might end up taking a short at this area, a scalp short, but it would be a short stop above the local high. TP1 would be taking out the local lows. And so that is a way we can play some scalp short positions within the bigger range that's been going on 3 weeks. But if you're looking at shorting right now, guys, we've already had the breakdown of the value area low, and that back test was kind of the area to look for the short. And then as far as longs go, yes, I am not long right now. I did not take a long from the golden pocket. I did not take a long from the internal SFP today. The new lows, even though we do have bull divs, I did not take any long positions. The next long position I'd be looking at taking is if we come down to my green box of support between 63,150 and 62,600. And I would want to see continued bull divs developing on the chart as we're coming down here. Multiple drives of bull div coming into this support level. Otherwise, I'm not going to take any long positions, and I'll wait for our bigger swing long position, taking out the 60K lows into that naked monthly point of control and anchored VWAP. All right, let's look at our liquidation heat map here, and let's go to the last week of price action. You can see that we do have a lot of liquidity right above those weekend highs from Saturday. So this high that was put in on a Saturday, once again, guys, it did front run a fresh daily level. It did front run our point of control, and it did front run that golden pocket. If we pull that golden pocket once again, so we do have a lot of liquidity resting above the weekend highs. And if we can get back inside of the range, now this is another scenario that I would be playing. If we can get back inside of the range, upon a back test of that value area low, I would be looking to come up to that area. So I would take a long in this area with my stop below that local low upon finding reacceptance. But we'll have to see if we even get back up there, because remember, we could be chopping in this sideways and down channel until we get to our bigger support level. Now, if we do bounce from this bigger support level between 63.1 and 62.6, then I will also, because it's the bottom of the channel, I will be looking for long from that area to potentially see just taking out of the highs from earlier today. Or if we can make it back in the range, I will look to come all the way up to take out those weekend highs where all that liquidity is sitting. We do have all that liquidity sitting there. If we look at the last month of price action, which is about our range that we've been in, 3 weeks to a month, it's a little bit less than a month, but you can see even within this range, most of the liquidity is above that last Saturday high that we just put in 2 days ago. And below us, there's not any significant liquidity left until we really come down to take out your 60K lows. So knowing that we have that liquidity acting as a magnet above, we could continue to trade in this sideways choppy range for a little bit longer. One thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see this range going over 4 weeks long, because if we're looking at our bigger drop to the downside, that fifth wave from 98K, let me just get up here. If we're looking at this being that 5-wave corrective move, not that one. This 5-wave corrective move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming down to take out those 60K lows, coming into your support level here. Then I do not want this range to go 4 times longer than this range. One time to 4 times is okay, but once you start getting past the 4 to 1 Fibonacci, you don't really want to see that. And so once we get to about 28 days to a month on this range, that is when I'll start getting a bit worried that we need to start rethinking here. We're only about 18 days into this, so not even 3 weeks. So we do have some time, guys. We do have some time to chop around within this range still before seeing the breakdown to take 60K. Let's go to our order flow here. Let me go zoom out to the 15-minute chart. Now, what we're seeing within the order flow, the breakdown that we saw on Sunday was a healthy breakdown. This volume imbalance candle that we saw on the breakdown, remember, losing the POC and losing the value area low, breaking down with high volume, you can see that shorts were coming in on that breakdown, and they were fresh short positions. So the bears are still in control, breaking the price action of Bitcoin below the fair value of this range. Let me just match this up here. Let me get to the 15-minute chart so we can match up the order flow here. But this breakdown right here, a lot of fresh shorts were coming in. Bears are in control. They broke it down to new lows, breaking market structure bearishly by taking out that low. And now if we go back to the order flow, after seeing that breakdown, we did get a little bit of a short squeeze. You saw a lot of shorts stepping in near the bottom. So specifically in this lower quadrant right here, short positions stepping in. Actually right here, those short positions were stepping in, and there were fresh short positions. And then once we started to rise up a bit, you can see that we did have some long stepping in. Let me clean this up for you guys a bit here. Long stepping in. Some long stepping in, and then we got the short squeeze with your open interest dropping. So the little push up that we got today to back test that value area low was a bit of a short squeeze. And since then, we're not really seeing too much here. You know, open interest was dropping, but for half the day today, and now it's been rising for half the day. And of course, we're seeing the long step in. Like you can see a majority, it's relatively flat, but your CVD is increasing here. Your open interest is increasing, but it was only once you started to hit that POC or that golden pocket that was below us. So we're attempting to see some bulls step in at the golden pocket to hold it as support to make a bigger move to push up. Nothing significant in my opinion here, guys. Nothing too significant at all. And we could even see some bearish CVD divergences come in here if we do make a lower high and this continues to rise here, we see higher highs in the CVD and we see lower highs here. That would be bearish CVD divergences. Now, of course, you would want to see your open interest still climbing here, and that would give us bearish CVD absorption. And so pay attention to that local golden pocket 786 area, specifically the 786, because that's going to be where the midline of your bigger channel is. So once again, coming back into this midline of the channel, it would be where your 786 Fibonacci is if you pull it off that bearish backtest to the low, around $66,000, pretty much right at $66,000 is where I would be looking for bearish absorption. So if we're coming up to that, speaking of those local scalp shorts and that scalp short mentality that we can be in, if we continue to grind up here to hit that 786 and we see bearish CVD absorption coming in, this continuing to rise to make new highs and our open interest continuing to rise, then I will look for the short, because bearish absorption plays out a majority of the time, and I would look to take that short position. TP1 would go below. Of course, I'd be putting my stop above that high from earlier today, and that would be a decent scalp trade right there. Scalp short opportunity. I will probably only take that if I'm seeing the bearish absorption. Otherwise, I'm not interested. But that's about it for Bitcoin, guys. On the macro time frame, I am expecting the 60K lows to be taken out relatively soon here. Now, could it be another week or 2 weeks? Yes. But I am expecting to come down to take out your 60K lows. And coming into that $58,000 to $57,000 support will be really, really big. All right, let me zoom out to the daily time frame, and another area that I wanted to talk to you guys about. This is our multi-cycle pitchfork. You can see how well it's been respected on the higher time frames. Every major pivot has been pretty much a flip of this pitchfork from support to resistance, and we've finally lost that lower band of the pitchfork. So if we do come down to the bottom of the pitchfork, I will be looking for it to hold, and that's going to be around $54,000. Now, remember how we took the 2024 range and the 2025 range and we combined them. You can see that the value area low is going to be coming in right around the bottom of that pitchfork. So in the scenario that we do not hold $57,000, the next big support area I'd be looking at is around $54,000, like $53,500, $53,700. But that would be the next big area, because I could see us seeing a major bounce from the bottom of the pitchfork. It has not been tested yet this entire cycle. And the anchored VWAP on Binance is way lower than on Coinbase. But if we look at the index chart, the index chart's another good chart too. You can see that index chart, it's coming in right around $58,000 too. The anchored VWAP from the lows, from the bear market lows, is coming in right around $57,000. So I really am looking for that major swing long opportunity from 57, 58. And in the case that we break it down, I will be looking at that 53.5 to like $54,000 area. All right, that's enough for Bitcoin. Now let's get on to some of the altcoins here. But before we do, I want to take a second to shout out the partners of the channel. So the main partner of the channel is going to be BYDFI. They are a VPN and KYC free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. If you do sign up using my affiliate link in the description, you'll get a minimum of 20% discounts on trading fees. You can actually earn up to 40% discounts on trading fees if you deposit some of the large amounts into the exchange. They have up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you move in the futures markets. And they're giving some of the best initial deposit bonuses I've seen of any exchange in the industry. For instance, if you deposit just $100, you can get a 50% deposit bonus, which is the highest I've seen on $100. They're offering 20% deposit bonuses up to $1,000 and 10% deposit bonuses up to $20,000. I've also partnered with BYDFI to create a Telegram community. It is a private community, but it is free to get in. All you need to do to get in is join BYDFI using my affiliate link and deposit $100 into the exchange. That $100 is your money to trade with. you will get the 20% discounts on the trading fees. And if you do KYC, you can get the 50% deposit bonus. Now, once you've done that, once you've joined BYDFI with the link and deposited the money, you can click the Telegram link in the description of this video. Once you're in that Telegram verified channel, type in /verify and then your BYDFI user ID, which will be right up here. It's probably going to be a string of letters and numbers for you guys, but /verify and your BYDFI user ID, you'll get into the Telegram. And once you're in, you are in. Okay, second partner of the channel is actually going to be Blowfin, another non-KYC exchange here. And Blowfin is offering some good deposit bonuses as well. If you do join using my affiliate link in the description, you can, for the first 300 users, you'll receive a $10 voucher if you deposit just $5. And they're offering some really good initial deposit bonuses as well. For $100, you'll get $20, 500, 100. You guys can see it all here, but if you deposit $10,000, you can get pretty much a 10% deposit bonus on $10,000. You can get $1,000 here. They're offering some discounts on trading fees. So Blowfin is the second non-KYC exchange I've partnered with. I wanted to give you guys two of each option. BYDFI and Blowfin are non-KYC, and I do have two KYC options as well, MEXC and Bybit, both great reputable exchanges. Bybit's offering up to $30,000 in futures trading bonuses, and MEXC's offering a 10% initial deposit bonus up to $1,000. And then the last partner of the channel here I have is NAMI Trading. And NAMI is this momentum and money flow indicator you see on the bottom of your screen here. So I use it for all my confirmations to enter. For instance, as we are coming down now, let me get to the Coinbase chart. As we are coming down to my support box that I've had laid out for 3 weeks now, 2-3 weeks now, if we are seeing some bullish divergences on the lower time frames, on the intermediate time frames here, coming down into that support, I will look for a long based off of confirmation that we could be seeing a nice scalp long opportunity from that area. So I want to see NAMI seeing those bull divs on the chart. It will print the bull divs for you, so you don't have to be good at spotting them with your naked eye. And I also want to look at the money flow to see if we're seeing money flow curve to the upside or even some money flow bull divs come in. For me, it's what I use for entries and exit confirmations on my trades. It's been a great, valuable tool that's helped keep me out of bad trades and get me into the trades that are more probable to play out. So if you're interested, I've partnered with NAMI. I've got you guys a 50% off discount. If you click on the affiliate link in the description, and then in the promotion box, you type in Divine50, you can get 50% off the lifetime subscription to NAMI. Okay, that is it for the partners of the channel. Let's move on to Ethereum real quickly here. So guys, Ethereum, very similar. Let me hide a couple things here real quick. On Ethereum, we are coming down to the support box below us as well. We have a daily level down there, 786 down there. Very similar, the bottom of a channel. And you can see I put on that same sort of descending channel that I looked at on Bitcoin, taking it from the range high to your lower high to your first low. And you can see that we're chopping within this channel as well. We did reject the midline of this channel earlier today. And if we can continue to grind down just a little bit more, we are front running that box of support just below us. And so I would like to come down a little bit more. But the big thing on Ethereum, let me hide our descending channel here. And I want to talk about how we are starting to lose our pitchfork band that we've been trading in. And I talk about this a lot on the channel, guys, but within these larger pitchforks, the upper and lower band, you will often form ranges in and around the upper and lower band of the pitchfork. So we lost, you can see that our pitchfork midline acting as support lost it. And so you expect to drop to your band, your lower band. And we did. And yes, we did wick past it pretty aggressively on that dump that Thursday. But when we saw that relief rally the next Friday, we were trying to break above the band and we couldn't. We could not. We fall down below and we were pretty much chopping in and around this pitchfork band. But you can see it was holding relatively steady inside a range inside the pitchfork band. But after making that low on Thursday, last Thursday, we had a rise up to backtest the bottom of the pitchfork band. And we just could not get back inside the pitchfork band. Tried here, tried here, a little bit of a low time frame failed auction, tried a third time, and on the third tap is when we saw the dump come in. Dumping, and then if we look at our value area, our volume profile of this range, it was also a bit of a bearish back test of the value area low. Not as nice as Bitcoin's. Bitcoin back tested pretty much to the dollar and rejected, but you can see we tried to wick back inside of that value area low. And actually, I'm sorry, on the rejection that we saw on the weekend, we were trying to reclaim the POC, which is where our pitchfork band was. We could not reclaim the POC, and that's when we dumped. And then earlier today, tried to reclaim the value area low. Couldn't. Bearish backtest. Couldn't. So you expect to make new lows, and that's what we did. But Ethereum looking for something very similar. And if you remember Thursdays and Fridays live streams, I've been talking about our macro support below us. I've been really talking about us coming down to this about $1,570 to about $1,600 area of support. And to me, this will be a really nice area to look for not only some spot buys, but a potential swing long opportunity for Ethereum. The reason why I say that, let me zoom out to the 3-day chart on Ethereum. You can see this upper range that we've been in Ethereum for 4 years. From May of 2021. So, you know, almost coming on 5 years here in this upper range. And we rejected the value. Well, first of all, we broke above the value area high, flipped it to support, came up, made a new all-time high, rejected the top of the pitchfork and made a new all-time high. But once we fell back inside the volume profile, that bearish backtest there, finding reacceptance back inside the volume profile, finding reacceptance. So now, because we've spent so much time back inside, we can expect to fall to the POC. And if the POC doesn't hold, then we expect to fall to the value area low. But we'll take it level to level as traders. So the POC is a major volume support level. It is the fair value for Ethereum over the past 4 to 5 years. And if we do come down to fair value and the market is overall macro bullish on Ethereum, then you would expect to see some buys coming in at fair value. It's also the bottom of our pitchfork, and we've rejected the top of the pitchfork, worked our way down through the pitchfork. And so if we do get to the bottom of the pitchfork with that point of control there, I will be looking for at least a decent long opportunity to potentially backtest our lower band before maybe breaking this thing down. So I'm going to be looking at that, you know, $1,600 to $1,570 level as a major support level below us. And other than that, guys, you're just playing the range. I mean, I would just be playing this local range here, looking inside this local range for any potential rejection areas. Let's turn on our naked weekly points of control here. We do have a new naked weekly point of control with that candle close yesterday. That is going to be coming in around 1971. And if we look at our naked daily points of controls, I believe we do have a naked daily point of control in this box of support below us. Nope, sorry, that's the wrong thing. But you can see we have a couple fresh naked daily points of controls as well within this range. Naked daily here, also naked daily. So a lot of volume resistance coming in at the back test of our pitchfork band. And we do have that fresh daily level as well there. So around 1973, 1971, up to about 1986. This is a very strong resistance area now for Ethereum. Let's zoom back into the 1 hour chart. We have naked weeklies, naked dailies, the pitchfork and a daily level, as well as your 3-week long range point of control that's coming in right at this area of resistance. So I would say this is a pretty big area of resistance for us. around that 1971 to 1985 area. Yeah. And you know what we were looking at? Remember last week, we were looking at this drop and this chop up sideways. We actually shorted this golden pocket at 2035 to 2040. And we were looking for not only new lows to come in to take out these lows, but potentially to continue down and to continue to break down here. What I would say as far as our Elliott waves go, we do have a lot of overlap within here. And this, I would say, has to be labeled as a three-wave corrective move in here. It looks like a lot of chop to me, guys. Complex corrective moves within here. And we did move up pretty high today, filling that fair value gap. You can see kind of rejecting from your previous lows in here on today's high. I would expect this to come down a little bit lower. We have that daily level down there and that 786 Fibonacci. That is going to be coming in just below us. So that would be an area of support that we could see some sort of bounce from, at least for a scalp long opportunity. We are seeing some nice bull divs come in on the chart. You can see here on at least Market Cipher B, between the two lows, some bull divs coming in. And if we go to the 2 hour, some bull divs on the 2 hour. And then like with Bitcoin on NAMI, the 4 hour has those bull divs. I would say this, money flow on the 4 hour does not look too good on NAMI or Market Cipher B. So yes, we are developing some bullish confirmations to take a scalp long position from this area of support. But to me, I would be playing it as a scalp and I would be getting out on the back test of the value area low at 1907. I would at least take a TP1. So if you're going to long this, you're going to wait for the bounce, long it once you start to bounce from there. My stop would go below that low, and I would be targeting that TP1, or that value area low as a TP1. Potentially seeing that we could break up to our larger resistance above. But overall, guys, I'm looking to come down to that $1,600 area of support, that really nice area of support down here. We do have the daily level down here as well. And I believe there's also a weekly level down there. Yeah, so that box of support between 1,600 and 1,570, we have a daily level, we have a weekly level, we have our 4-year long range point of control, and the bottom of the pitchfork. So for me, key support below us, 1,600 to 1,570. Okay, that's it for Ethereum. Let's move on to Solana. Now, Solana, like I said at the beginning of the video, I did take a short on Solana earlier today. I posted about it in the Telegram, let you guys know in the Telegram that I was taking this short position, but just based off our volume profile. So first off, Solana, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana did make a new high within our range that second week. So we had our initial push up on Friday, chopped down for about a week, and then we pushed up again, hitting the 618 Fibonacci, trend-based Fibonacci extinction, which in a flat ABC correction or a three-wave zigzag correction, if we're looking at this as a three-wave zigzag correction, then your 618 is kind of your minimum target. A lot of the times you will come up between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236, but we did hit that minimum target. We took the liquidity of the range highs, seeing that SFP into your 618, and then we started dropping here. Now, yes, we could be looking at this three-wave corrective moves done, and now we're about to see some 1-2s in here before breaking down. But I'm just playing this range right now. So knowing that we're in scalp mode and we're just playing this sideways range, knowing that this thing could extend, if we pull that volume profile, we had lost the volume profile and over the weekend, yesterday evening for me. We had front run the golden pocket. And if we're looking at this golden pocket here, let me zoom out to the 4-hour chart. This golden pocket we covered on the stream last week. But because we did make a new range high on Solana, unlike Ethereum and Bitcoin, we can pull a new golden pocket from our range low or from the lows of the dump to our corrective range highs. And that golden pocket is coming in around 76.6 to 75.85. And on the dump last night, we front ran that golden pocket, which also has some key liquidity resting into it. And remember, within these ranges, within these sideways corrective ranges, the most important things to look at are liquidity and volume levels. And knowing that we have some liquidity down there into a golden pocket, that is a setup that I will often take in my own trading. Liquidity grab into a golden pocket support does play out a lot of the time. But because we had front run that golden pocket liquidity grab earlier today, and we started to see a bounce to backtest that value area low, upon trying to break above it, but then losing it, once we attempted to break back into the volume profile and lost it, that is when I shorted on the bearish backtest, still expecting to come down to make new lows. Just like how Bitcoin backtested its value area low, it rejected, and today Bitcoin has already made new lows, coming into a larger golden pocket. Bitcoin's a little bit ahead of us here. Solana rejected the bearish backtest of the value area low, and it now fully hasn't came down yet, but I'm expecting it to come down to make new lows to see this liquidity grab into the golden pocket, where I will be looking for scalp long positions. If we do come down here, I will take another TP on the short. I've already taken a TP1, by the way. I took a TP1 at our local golden pocket from earlier today. I took a TP at the golden pocket. We actually hit it a few hours ago and started to bounce. So I only took 20% out. I let you guys know about that in the Telegram. I've moved my stop loss to break even, so this is a risk-free trade for me. But my next TP, which will be probably most of the trade, I'm probably going to close most of the short position, would be at the 76.5 SFP into golden pocket area. Now, money flow still looks pretty bearish on Solana on the 1 hour chart. We are not seeing bull divs because we have not made new lows. And zooming out to the 4 hour chart, on the 4 hour chart, money flow, even though we are seeing a green dot, yes, we are seeing a green dot on the 4 hour market cipher B, but money flow is pretty aggressively leaving the asset on both NAMI and market cipher B. Market cipher B and NAMI. So I am looking for this to continue down here, guys. I'm looking for this to just continue pushing down to at least come down to 76K, 76.6, 76.5, where I'll look then to see what happens in this area. But once again, just like with Bitcoin, just like with Ethereum, we closed our first daily candle below the value area low of our range of the past couple of weeks, showing a sign of weakness and showing that this dump could continue to the downside, showing that this could be a continual dump to the downside. And because Solana did make that new high, giving a scenario that this three-wave corrective move could be in, and we're about to see a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then dump and an impulse, I will be keeping an eye out for those lower highs to potentially catch a wave 3 to the downside, where we could make our big money on a trade. But for now, yeah, still in that short position on Solana, looking to come down to 76.5. And if we look at those naked weekly points of controls, we do have that naked weekly point of control at the range point of control around $85, $84.93. Naked daily points of controls are going to be coming in that same general area, and one above us as well at 86.4. And we do have that fresh daily level from the Saturday close that is coming in right at that naked weekly point of control. So pretty much $85. 85 is going to be a key resistance for us. If we do come up to that area, I will be looking for potential shorts from that area. Now, remember, my mentality right now inside these ranges is scalp mentality. Just like I shorted here, take profit here. Small scalp moves within this area. After coming down to the liquidity grab into the golden pocket, if we bounce here, We could look for the double top from today's lower high right here, or I guess that's today's high. So I will be looking to TP1 if we come up here. If and only if we get the swing failure pattern. Guys, I'm not going to long this unless we get the swing failure pattern. But the TP2 would be that next box of resistance, really kind of being that $85 area in there with the daily and with the naked weekly point of control. All right, that's it for Solana. Actually, before I move on here, let's zoom out to the daily time frame. Now, on Solana, I am looking potentially to come down to that 57.5, really closer to 57.6. We have a weekly level down there, and I believe we have some daily levels down there as well. Yeah, we have a daily level that's just below it at like 55. And then we have the consolidation from this range here. So coming down to that $57 to $55 area would be where I'm potentially looking for a bounce if we see a bigger breakdown. All right, SUI. We covered SUI in depth on the live stream on Friday. So if you want to go look at that, Thursday and Friday, I believe we covered SUI, but I'm pretty much looking for SUI to come down to take out your 74-cent lows. We've lost the pitchfork. We saw that move up to backtest the value area low of our upper range. We rejected the value area low of the upper range, and now we're finishing that last push to the downside. So I want to see another low coming in if we're looking at this as a, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is a small problem with that when we do zoom in on the 2 hour. That first move down here does look like a 3-wave corrective move. So if we're going to say that's a 1, that's a 2, you can't have a 3-wave corrective move to start out your impulse. But what I'm looking at on SUI is we've lost the pitchfork. We have now come down and hit the point of control of your lower range. This was your your prior range. We have 2 major ranges on SUI. We have the bottom range in here, and we have our upper range up here. We have now lost the upper range. We back tested the value area low. We rejected, and we have now found reacceptance back within this lower range down here. So now the fair value of SUI is now priced within this lower range, and we came down to fair value. You can see we came down to fair value on that dump a couple Thursdays ago, and we pretty much bounced from the point of control of that range. But we did have some liquidity that was resting right below it that I would like to come down and see maybe a double bottom around this point of control, coming down and grabbing that liquidity before potentially seeing a move up to backtest your pitchfork. And then we could see what happens from there. Yeah, and then if we do, we do have a couple fresh weekly levels. You can see that weekly level coming in at 76 cents. So it's just above our liquidity. And that weekly level would be an area where I'd be interested in, maybe wick past it to grab the liquidity, but close the daily candle at or above the weekly. We would develop some nice bull divs on the chart, here on the daily time frame. And then the next major support level that I would be looking at, well, let's pull that. You do have your macro 786 that's coming in around that weekly level. If you pull it from the lows of SUI to the highs, 786. But actually, I would be really targeting in the 786 at 64 cents, 64.6. You could see a bounce from that macro 786 now that we're starting to lose that macro golden pocket. But the big level, like if you really wanted to snipe, then the value area low right around the weekly of your prior range, that is kind of your level within your level. So from that weekly to that value area low, we'll make that a darker green color. That would be your nice, like, zone within the zone to look for swing long opportunities. All right, let's get rid of this. Yeah, and for SUI, as far as on the weekly timeframes, we could be still seeing that impulse wave 1, wave 2. All of this could still be a wave 3 in progress, where you can see I had that 1.618 Fibonacci trend-based Fibonacci extinction coming down to 70 cents. So this is on a weekly time frame. So this would take a lot of time to play out, guys. But like, say we're going to drop to that, value area low around 56 cents, and that weekly around 56 cents. We could see this is a wave 1, wave 2, all of this coming down to the 1.618 in a wave 3, grabbing that liquidity at 70 cents and that weekly level that's right around there before seeing a corrective move up in a wave 4 to the back test the pitchfork before seeing one more low in a wave 5 to come down to hit your 55, 56 cent area of support. I will keep you guys updated on this because even this scenario, the remaining left of this scenario would take months to play out because we're on the weekly time frame. That is something that if we are going to go into a bear market, we could see SUI ultimately come down to around 56 cents over the next few months. But we'll keep an eye out on those even swing long positions because if we take out 74 cents into that 70 cent support, we still should see a decent rally potentially to come up to 117 or higher before dropping down to 56 cents. But that's pretty much all that I'm looking at on SUI. And I would be just trading this range, this small range that all the coins have been in for 3 weeks since the dump ended. SUI did make that 3-wave corrective move like Solana where it made a higher high. And we did reject from the 618 Fibonacci extinction as well, trend-based Fibonacci extinction. If we pull that trend-based Fibonacci extinction, we did reject from that 618, which is a uncommon but minimum target to reject in a flatter zigzag correction. So now that we've rejected from that, we are losing the value area low of our range. We bounced last Thursday, came up to the POC. We could not hold the POC, or we could not flip the POC to support. We rejected after bouncing from value area low, rejection of POC, rejection of POC. Now we've lost the value area low. We closed the daily candle below the value area low, back tested it earlier today, and we're just chopping. So I would expect maybe some side of sideways and down chop until we get, honestly, probably I'm expecting us ultimately to come down to take out those 74 cent lows or around 76 cents where that weekly level is. Our 786 is going to be around our prior range point of control. And that prior range point of control, remember, that was our large range that was in the past. Coming down to this general area, yes, you could look for it to hold again. It's not my favorite because we are losing the value area low of this local range, and I do expect new macro lows on this. And I believe we have a daily level down there as well. Actually, no, we don't. We've already broken past that daily, broke through it. No respect there, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, and so honestly, on SUI, I would just be looking if we can reclaim the value area low of this trading range. Then I would be looking to come up to around your naked weekly point of control and your daily level. 95.4 to 96.7. I want to see this continue to chop and make lower lows though, and come down to actually hit our local support below us with those nice bull divs on the chart in order to look for any longs from that 84 to 83 cent area. All right, let's move on to say is coming down. Actually, guys, unlike a lot of the coins, Say is actually taking out those crash lows from a couple Thursdays ago. So very nice that we came down, but we're not really seeing a clean liquidity grab of those lows. Not a very nice clean liquidity grab at all. And I would have to say that this is starting to look a bit impulsive to me here. We could be looking at a wave 1, a wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 in here. So yeah, if we can start to reclaim it, those prior lows, we're trying to reclaim them now. No bull divs on Market Cipher B, but we do have some nice bull divs on NAMI developing and nice bull divs on the money flow here. Then we could look at least for a move up to that golden pocket, which is going to be around the point of control of your range. And we're going to have that naked weekly point of control that is coming in as well. Yeah, but Sui, the big thing on Sui, guys, very similar to, the big thing on Say, very similar to Sui, is that bottom of the pitchfork was holding as support, and then it was flipped to resistance. So we're chopping around below the pitchfork. I would expect us to continue dumping here. We're pretty much at all-time lows here, at least on the Coinbase chart on Say. So I am waiting for a sign of strength. Yes, taking out those lows. Actually, right now on the daily time frame, we're attempting to see a liquidity grab on the daily time frame of those lows. We do have some very nice bull divs on the chart now on the daily time frame. But on NAMI, the local bull divs have been invalidated here. And actually, even the regional bull divs have been invalidated. So I would be cautious here, and I'm not looking for longs until we see a local sign of strength in here. I would like to see a change in market structure before I even think to long this, because this could just continue dropping to the downside. So until we see a local sign of strength here, I am not looking to long this. Also not looking to short this. Honestly, Say is an untradeable coin for me right now because we're pretty much at all-time lows on the Coinbase chart, and we're not seeing any signs of strength. XRP is continuing to chop within the range. Now, XRP lost the prior lows of our upper range. This was our upper range on XRP for the year of 2025. We had a very nice sideways upper range, but we had lost the lows of the range at 161, and we back tested those lows. If we look at that, lost it, had a 3-wave corrective move to backtest those lows, and we're rejecting pretty harshly on the backtest of those prior lows. We didn't even make it up to the value area low. If we look at, what's going on here? Solana seeing that SFP right now. Sorry, guys. Let me just check this out. Maybe we can look at entering a trade here while we're on the video. So I've now automatically hit a TP2 on Solana. Money flow doesn't look very good here on the 15-minute. We're not seeing an SFP right now, but I would want to see a 5-minute candle close above that level to look for the SFP. Bitcoin is dropping as well. Yes. Okay, guys. watch to come down. We're coming down to the bottom of the channel here. And I know that I'm making a video, but I just want to look at this live. Maybe we can get a live look at some trading while we're making this video here, instead of like cutting it up and editing it. You know what? Actually, what I'll do is I'll end the video here, and then tomorrow I'll be live streaming at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please come join me for the live stream tomorrow. I will cover XRP tomorrow. I will cover Chainlink tomorrow, and we'll cover Bitcoin, all the altcoins. We'll look at the different scenarios. We'll try to get some live trading in tomorrow, so please come join me. Please hit the like button on your way out, guys. If you got any sort of insight into the market from this live stream, please hit the like button, and I will see you tomorrow.